Welcome to our top 10 things I wish I'd known before I drove to Alaska. Number one, you're going to spend a lot of your time in Canada. The maps are a little bit deceitful here. You spend a lot of miles driving in Canada, so be prepared to convert to liters to kilometers per hour and liters per kilometer, because you're going to spend a decent amount of time in Canada. Number two, the local visitor centers, and this is all the way up through Canada and Alaska, are an absolute treasure trove of information, filled with people whose only interest is having you get the best out of the time you spend in the north. Stop in, talk to them, pick their brains. They have some absolute fantastic information for you, I promise. Number three, while we're talking about Canada, be aware that some of your best nature photography and videoing opportunities might just be in Canada. The Northern Rockies is an incredible place, and it's a lot less frequented by large trucks and other things that scare the wildlife off. So as you're zooming through Canada on your way to Alaska, make sure you're keeping a wary eye on the side of the road, because bears, elk, sheep, all kinds of animals are going to be there, and you can see them. Number four, there are two ways to touch the Arctic Ocean up there. So if part of your bucket list is making it to the absolute end of the world, then you're going to want to touch your toes in the Arctic Ocean. There are two ways of doing this. The first is to drive up to Fairbanks, go north on the Dalton Highway, and head to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. Take the tour. They will take you out on the ice field where you can go out and touch your toes in the water. Number two, though, a little more interesting, an Inuvik village called Tuktoyaktuk opened about 5 years ago to road traffic. Now, there are two ferries, and the road is relatively treacherous. In fact, that's why we didn't make it to Tuk, because a large propane truck had overturned on that road. But this is a neat place, and you can camp right on the water. Consider it. Number five, what looks dead can actually be very much so alive. So especially up in the north, when you pass the line of the last fir trees, you're going to find that the tundra expands out of you. So this is the area of permafrost under the ground. You've only got that top about 12 inches of spongy soil that exists there. And especially in the fall, it tends to brown out. But if you'll go there and you'll take a little closer look, you'll see that this is not a barren wasteland. This is a diverse biosphere, all kinds of different animals, plants, berries, wild blueberries. Take the time to go out there and see what's out there, because it is incredible, and it is definitely worth checking out and not just making that run for the north. Number six, if you came to see bears, you've got a couple of different choices. If you want to see them in a rehab facility, you can go down to the Kenai and go to the Alaska Wildlife Center. But if you want to see them live and you don't want to pay for it, you don't want to take a plane out to Kodiak, you don't want to go into some of the national parks that, again, you have to be escorted in, consider adding Haines, Alaska to your trip. Especially if you're there during salmon season, you're going to find groves of bears pulling salmon right out of the river, sometimes as close as 8, 10, or less feet from your car. It's an exciting opportunity. It's a small town, not a lot of people know about it, and definitely worth visiting. Number 7, consider going off-season. The biggest months for tourism in Alaska are the prime parts of July and August. This also, I might mention, is the prime season for mosquitoes up there. Consider pushing your trip to a shoulder season either in the spring or a little bit more in the fall. Number 1, you're going to see the fall colors light up like you can't imagine. This place is beautiful and gorgeous, and it is absolutely set afire with fall colors. Consider it, but also take aware our next tip. Number 8, Alaska shuts down on September 15th. Now, that's an exaggeration, but many of the tourist activities that you might be seeking to enjoy do have a pretty hard and fast shutdown date of September 15th. So it doesn't matter whether it's going to stay warm longer and they're going to have an extended summer. People book tour guides, bartenders, waitresses. They book a season and they plan on being out of there right after September 15th. So no matter what the weather is doing, a lot of these places will close down. Will there still be places that you can get food, restaurants, bars? Yes, but it will be limited, and some of the towns, specifically Dawson City, Skagway, Homer, these towns become virtual ghost towns overnight. Number 9, here's the deal with bear spray. This is something that you can only buy in Alaska. It can absolutely not be transported in an aircraft. Do not buy it before you get up there. It comes in a canister just like this. Most likely you will not need it. Even if there is a bear, they are surprisingly skittish at the sight of humans. However, is it worth having this? Well, if the bear starts directly charging you and you can't get any other way, you will want this. They're the least expensive at like a Walmart, something like that. And instead of just throwing it in the garbage can at the airport, consider donating it at your hotel before you leave, or consider donating your bear spray to one of the local visitor centers that were so helpful with all that information to you. Our first bear spray that we used was actually loaned to us from the visitor center on the Denali Highway. Thanks again, Chuck. Number 10, Alaska is an immense place, and it's a long way to get there. You're gonna have bucket list items. I had one. I wanted a skinny dip in the Arctic Ocean. That may sound silly to you. Who knows what yours is? You wanna see polar bears? Do you wanna see brown bears? Do you wanna see grizzly bears? Do you wanna see salmon running? Whatever it is, you need to plan ahead. A lot of people miss out on those bucket list opportunities by not getting reservations, by not taking and looking at realistic time scale for driving from one place to another. Plan ahead, be prepared, and make your dreams happen. Alaska's an amazing place. You need to go. Thanks for watching.